Environment, you have to deal with all types of cringe, corporate simps, cringe environments on LinkedIn, on the corporate environment, all types of weird types of personalities that you typically avoid. But this is a sign of collapse in corporate America because it's unsustainable. They can't keep pushing this ridiculous, childish corporate propaganda on grown adults who just want to go to their job, do their work and get paid, right? So let's look at some of these funny, ridiculous examples.
Speaker, we work while others play. In Disney operations, your shift may end at 3 a.m. It may start at 3 a.m. In Disney operations, you are expected to work nights when you start your career. In Disney operations, you're expected to work at least one weekend, day, night, every week throughout your career. In Disney operations, you're expected to work holidays throughout your career. In Disney operations, you're expected to have full availability throughout your career. Are there exceptions? Rarely. This is an example of a corporate simp. And you can see that in the way he says, we work while others play, as if there's something wrong with enjoying life and having fun in life. A corporate simp way of humble bragging that they basically don't have a life other than their work. If we look at some of the comments here, we can see some more corporate simps that agree with him. One guy says, I've never had a problem with this schedule. Here's the dude that sees right through the bullshit. He says, it's sad that some people are so desperate or so gullible that they will sacrifice much of their own freedom and ability to make near future plans and appointments for a company that can be very inflexible and can fire them without notice and without cause. Been there, done that. Posts like these drive corporate to being a toxic workplace.
So there's some good examples there, right, of corporate simps, right? Loads of people, they don't value their free time and their life and balancing work and life, right? Particularly when they're working for a company. And what ends up happening is that culture spreads throughout the team. And then all of a sudden you who have strong boundaries and maybe you work a 9 to 5 or 8 to 6, you become the outcast. You become someone they want to blame as the bad person when actually you setting healthy boundaries is a good thing. But they'll be like, well, everyone else is staying late to do work. Everyone else is coming in early. And then all of a sudden you have to do that. It's completely ridiculous. This type of corporate simp behavior is really detrimental to your freedom. It will impact your free time. It will impact your quality of life and the amount of work you have to do at work. It really demonstrates the inflexibility of some people to respect people's boundaries and creates a toxic work environment. And lots of people, they love to be a martyr to workism, right? They want to be like, work is their religion, right? Workism, as in racism or things like that. Workism is like a commitment to just working to the point where you're becoming a martyr, right? You're sacrificing yourself to work like a kamikaze, right? So this is the type of attitude that some people have. It's because they don't have good boundaries. They don't respect their boundaries and respect other people's boundaries. And the thing about life is, I understand you want to work and be successful and things like that. Maybe climb the corporate ladder if you want to, even though I've made several videos saying why you shouldn't climb the corporate ladder. What you want to do is live a life that you want, because you want to have a lifestyle that actually works for you, not just working for the sake of it. So be very careful about, dealing with these type of personalities on LinkedIn in real life and navigating around them without triggering them, because they're so attached to work. They don't want you to have a life, and they don't want you to suggest that work shouldn't be the core of your life. And they'll also be quite annoyed if you just have clear boundaries. So be aware of that LinkedIn cringe. You can scroll past it on LinkedIn quite easily, but in the office, it takes a bit of patience to deal with it.
Appreciation, swag. Here's a picture. It says, swag you very much. Ugh. I love being part of this new and amazing work family. So number one here, work is not your family. You know what I'd rather have than a box full of this bullshit?
Just give me money, that's all I want.
Here's another post from Easy Stack, and this is hashtag employee appreciation. This is quite funny, right? This is another case of how ridiculous employee appreciation is. You get some completely ridiculous company branded goods and items that you typically don't need. You typically have your own kind of tumbler, right? Your own kind of drink container. You don't need one with your company logo on it. You don't need to you have everything in your life with company logos on it and think that's a gift from the company. A lot of this employee appreciation stuff is tax write-offs of just company branded goods. You can't wear it outside. It looks a bit cringe when you do wear it outside. If you're wearing it outside, you make a politically incorrect statement, you're at a bar drinking and you have your company logo, Morgan Stanley, things like that on your personal clothing, and you say something inappropriate, you could be subject to cancel culture. You could be kicked out of the bar. The company could fire you because you said or did something inappropriate with a company logo on yourself. Work is not family, right? And you just want to work to earn money.
And in this example here, right, you can see someone, and I don't want to knock the guy, he's clearly someone who neglected his health and he's focusing on his job, right? You should always put your health as much as you can above your wealth, right? Because health is wealth. There's no benefit of just focusing on money for the sake of it. And firstly, this is the situation where a lot of employees, a lot of people in the West, where they're focusing so much on work and making money, they do neglect their health, as I say. And if you look at this example, this is a company called Easy Stack, and they're congratulating Derek on his work anniversary at this company. They asked him a few questions about how many years he worked here, his job role, his favorite thing. Funny thing is, question 3, what is your favorite thing about working here? The environment, right? And these type of short answers are the type of pointless answers you have to give HR. Typically, your AWFLs who work in HR, affluent white female liberals who dominate the workplace culture, and they create all these pointless workplace activities. They infantilize, they treat their co-workers like their children, and they have to impose this type of ridiculous cringe liberal feminist culture. And I've been at companies where they give you these pointless surveys, pointless things to raise your profile, and it's like, I'm just here to work. I'm not here to like be some kind of figure at work who's like some kind of cringe corporate character. And work, what you have to understand, is treated, because of this feminized work environment, like a high school popularity contest, right? The same way at high school, or like, you know, those kind of stereotypical American high school TV shows, it becomes all about, oh, who's popular at work? Can you be seen to be, you know, a likable, friendly person? It becomes one big popularity social status game, right? And that's why these type of pointless HR initiatives become a thing, rather than just focusing on the work and the money.
Congratulations on 30 years with ITU Absorb Tech. Kind of sounds like Initech from Office Space. Hashtag Milestone Monday. Hashtag ITU Absorb Tech family. I don't think you have a big enough presence on the internet to hashtag yourself like that. But congratulations, Randy, on 30 years of service. It's not that I don't appreciate being appreciated. This just feels, again, like a slap in the face. 30 years... and I get a fucking $5 birthday cake. Just don't give me anything at all. Just be like, hey man, it's been 30 years. Let me take you out to lunch. Where you want to go? Do something like that. How much does this cost? A quarter sheet.
So this is an important example here, right? He's going to go and find out how much the cake could cost, right? But if you work 30 years somewhere and you get a cake, what you really want is more money. You want, like I say, money or stability. If you've been working there for 30 years, imagine if he gets laid off in the next year. That would be ridiculous, because he's been so loyal to a company that isn't necessarily loyal to him. And getting a pointless cake is quite ridiculous, right? And I want to give you a brief example of this cake scenario. I remember on my birthday at some of these companies, these big billion-dollar banks, I would buy 2 cakes, or a cake for the team, because we'd have a team on 2 different floors, and I'd buy 2 cakes, right? And these would be relatively, I wouldn't say the most expensive cakes in the world, but let's just say slightly higher priced cakes, right? Maybe a $40 cake, like a local pastry, a local bakery would have made that cake. And I would buy 2 of those, right? And it'd be a $40 cake once time a year, so maybe 2 of those cakes, because we have a team on 2 floors, so that'd be $80, right? Just one time a year. I didn't see it as a big deal. But what I noticed is the cake I would buy compared to what other people in management who'd be making 5 times my income would do on their birthday. They'd bring in like the cheapest pack of sweets just for their team members, because it's their birthday, as a gift for everyone. And that really stood out to me, how little people, even management who are making 5 times your salary, who are retiring early in their early 40s because they made so much money doing next to nothing but playing office politics or benefiting from girl power, girl boss promotions, they would just be giving you the cheapest shit they could, but they wouldn't expect me to do it. I just thought, you know, I'm working at a top company. I was relatively young at the time and more junior in that role, and I was just like, okay, cool, let me get something good for people. I don't want to give some cheaper sweets you can get from the supermarket. And they would do this. That's what management would do. They would just show you how lowly they value you, right? And this is really how ridiculous this society is. And it's like, how are you meant to deal with these type of work environments when they show you, and they blatantly show you in your face how lowly they value you, but you need to be so loyal to their company where your life or death depends on the success of the company and your work items at that point of time. So it's just ridiculous, man. And let's look at how cheap the cakes are that they get and how lowly they value their employees here.
Cake, it's $18.99. I'd much rather just take a $20 gift card. What I would like to hope is that this letter in this man's hand right here is actually a check or money, or something of monetary value besides a cake. Here's another one, hashtagged employee appreciation. This doesn't look like employee appreciation. This looks like
So this looks like a typical humiliation ritual that most men are put in, right? You go to work and given it says I'm loving it in the background, I assume it's probably McDonald's, or at least looks like a fast food place. I'd assume it's McDonald's. And you've got these female co-workers who think this is like a fun thing for you to do, and you're just putting through a humiliation ritual as a man, just going to work to do your job. And it's just become so normalized, feminized and emasculated and demoralizing in the workplace environment. You just go to work to make money. I'm not here to be treated like a kind of man-child, but that's how they want to treat you.
employee embarrassment. All right, let's all point at him and thank him. Just thank him in private. I feel like that means way more than virtue signaling and posting your employee's face onto the internet and being like, wow, he's so great. I wouldn't want that. I think a lot of people don't want that. I would much rather just for my boss to sit me down and be like, hey man, we really appreciate you and here's what I'd like to do for you. That would mean way more than the company saying, we're going to put you on LinkedIn. This is what a good employee appreciation looks like. I'm truly honored to be recognized today, right? He gets his dumb certificate that doesn't mean anything, but this man also gets some AirPods. He gets an Apple Watch. He gets a brand new iPhone. This is how you show appreciation. But most...
So that's kind of key, that example here, right? You want something you can buy and sell if you're going to get anything, right? I think there's some snacks in the middle there, right? Which you can eat or have with his family and things like that. But some of these other things you can basically sell on, right? You can go on eBay or you can go to like an Apple reseller and leave these items unopened and maybe get $100 or more. I don't know how much it'd be right now. But the point is, if you're going to get a gift, at least make it something that people can buy and sell rather than just a pointless cake and things like that. Now, the cringe is going to ramp up right now to maybe unprecedented levels for the channel. But we're going to do our best and take a deep breath and let's check out this clip.
See all the garbage that they deal with here. So we're doing a food competition. You have 5 minutes on the clock. J-Dog eating contest at work. No, thank you. Please just let me go home instead. Oh, they're taking as many tissues as they can out of a tissue box with one hand behind their back. Please just let me go home instead. Oh, they're moving eggs. Where's that? Ping pong balls? I don't know. Oh, now they're stacking cups. Again, these are different days. You can see the date in the bottom left. When you don't make President's Club, we play minute to win it games instead. So they're throwing balloons around, people are yelling and screaming at work.
So I don't know about you, but in this type of environment, I'd be the first to be fired because I can't deal with this level of cringe. It's just too much. It's like, vomit-inducing level of cringe. But this is how they've infantilized, emasculated, feminized the workplace environment. You put these AWFLs, typically affluent white female liberals, in positions of power. You have these old boomer bosses, and any man of working age, military age type of man, you're being forced to participate in this ridiculous childish behavior. And if you don't, you'll be considered the outcast of the team. You're not a team player. You're not participating in the team events. You're not cooperating with team members because you're not engaging in these cringe, ridiculous social type of games, right? And this is what determines your success now. This is what determines your ability to climb the corporate ladder and make more money. It's not dependent on your ability to do a good job. So it's just too much. It's a lot of teamwork events that you're forced to go to, particularly out of work hours, that are just cringe. You have to be a social, popular person. You can't be a skilled technical person. You have to be a social person to succeed. You have to spend this, as I say, your free time in this forced socialization. You're typically not paid during these work hours. It's more of a humiliation ritual for many people. It might be fun for women who behave like children, but it's not fair, or men who are like emasculated soy boys, bug men type of guys. But if you're not in that, it just feels like a humiliation ritual. And it's like you're being paid to embarrass yourself, or you're doing this outside of work hours and you're expected to spend your free time being embarrassed, right? Doing embarrassing activities.
Again, just let me go home instead. Doing bottle flipping. Reach out. Oh, drinking at work. That gotta love getting intoxicated with coworkers. And we don't know if this is alcoholic, but by the way that froth looks, it looks pretty alcoholic. In my opinion, I don't think getting intoxicated with coworkers is the best idea due to a whole bunch of potential HR violations. Now, these are grown adults. They can do what they want, but I don't think it's a good idea to do that at work.
So just before we move on, in terms of alcohol, of course, I would recommend you avoid alcohol at work. I can give you a couple cringe stories. I remember a co-worker when I was doing an internship at an investment bank where she was drinking too much alcohol and then she got upset. She didn't get the job offer. She was upset about her boyfriend or something like that. And she didn't have a future life plan, and she got drunk and made a fool of herself at a work drink session. Someone had to book a cab to send her home. And then you also had other instances whereby I remember going to a Christmas party. There's so many stories I can give you, right? There was one Christmas party we went to as a team, and a co-worker, my manager at the time, was kind of drunk and was feeling sorry for himself that he doesn't have a girlfriend, which was kind of ironic given that he pushes so aggressively for like liberalism and feminism, and he doesn't see the link between that and like dysfunctional gender relations. But this is the type of thing you have to tolerate when you're around co-workers who drink alcohol. I recommend you don't drink alcohol. You might say something politically incorrect, and that's leveraged against you by co-workers. Everything's built around pandering to liberalism, feminism, woke ideology, that type of thing. You say anything when you're drunk that's outline of that, then you'll be caught in trouble. If you're a man and you do something inappropriate, cancel culture, you could lose your job. If a woman gets drunk and does something inappropriate, no one cares. She gets a free pass because she's a woman. So that's how it is, right?
Oh, they have a fun machine that puts a bunch of... Oh, look, they're probably making a company culture video. They bust out the Ronin gimbal. So we started at what? January 29th? We're only at March 2nd? Come on. Oh, they're playing team building games on Slack. Why waste everyone's day like this? The podium's lip sync battle. Why?
I think I'm a believer. Yeah.
Guess who's crush with coworkers? What a way to stay productive at work.
So again, what type of workplace environment is this? A workplace environment that is clearly narrowly benefiting a particular type of social environment that benefits the type of white women who in this Zoom you can see on the left side of your screen, affluent white female liberals. The entire workplace environment, this is their idea of fun. My idea of fun is not this. Is this tailored to white men, black men, Asian men, men of any color? Typically, a lot of women of who are not white would also feel somewhat uncomfortable around this, right? Why are they playing this game at work? Why is this how you spend work hours? These people should be fired, but these people would have more job security, more higher paying roles than you will, because this system is completely defunct. You're in the collapse of the Western civilization, and you see this reflected in all sorts of small areas like this, where women like this are going to be uploaded and promoted super quick compared to yourself, right? Now, This is, I don't know how else to describe this, right? This is a difficult work environment you're in. On top of the layoffs and the economy and inflation, you got to deal with these type of people, right? This type of corporate cringe. And yeah, it's just very difficult to deal with. There's no other way of describing it. You've just got to kind of look out for your own best interest and navigate your way through this type of difficult, kind of weird co-worker environment. And if you're dealing with this, I've worked for over 10 years in the finance industry, dealt with many of those type of personalities for over 10 years at Goldman's, Morgan Stanley, HSBC, and so on. And I know how to navigate those investment banking, sales and trading, corporate environments. And that's how I can help you with career advice so you can develop a high income, high paying job, save and invest effectively to retire early, to get away from these types. And so we can navigate our way through this collapsing corporate America and make the most of it while it's still here. So link in description if you want to speak with me directly. 2 recommended videos on your screen right now, and I'll see you next time.